Flatland funnels, rut funnels in the swamp type setting where you don't have any terrain. That is a difficult thing, and that is what we're presented with here in South Carolina. So how do you find a funnel in flat country where there is nothing to really turn the deer or obstruct their travel? Well, if you really look at things from a macro perspective and then get in there and look around and do some manipulating, you can figure out where to set up or where to find funnels, and this is a prime example of that. A little shaky self-film thing this morning on my cell phone, but came into the swamp. It's getting towards the middle end of June, and gonna walk through setting up a Flatland South Carolina swamp funnel. That's a difficult thing to do, is to find a funnel area in really flat swamp country, but we got one. It's pretty involved, and gonna walk through the entire process of how we found it and then all the equipment that we're using. I'm gonna do like a before and after, and then we'll get in the quote unquote classroom and break it down from a map so you can see exactly how everything lays out. But I'll get right into everything that we're taking in to get this thing set up. I got this electric chainsaw. It's really, really good. I got 2 cameras, and the reason I got 2 is I'm gonna have a mineral sight in there. I got the maximizer. I'll have 1 camera on that, and then 1 camera on a mock scrape and the trail inside of the funnel. And then let's see, I got a shovel for the mineral. I got zip ties for the mock scrape that I'm gonna set up. And again, we'll show all that. Got a handsaw, and I've got a couple lone wolf tree stands. My truck looks like a bomb went off. Sticks and stands. So we're gonna get all of that set up today. It's gonna take a while. Pretty decent walk into where we're going, but it sets up great, not only for a rut funnel, but also for early season, because there is gonna be some planted food on both ends of this. So sets up pretty nice, and we're gonna do a before and after. All right, the first thing that I did was identify where the funnel was or where it would potentially end up. And then the first thing you gotta do is find the trees that are gonna set up. That's number 1. Right behind me is my south wind tree. And then this is gonna be a little bit hard to see. Let's go over here. I think I can show it. And about 25 yards away is the north wind tree. It's that double tree right in there. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the electric chainsaw and tighten it up. There's a big ditch that I'll show in just a second, drainage ditch that they don't really cross that way. And then on that side is a fresh cutover, which makes a perfect edge. So we're gonna tighten all that up to these trees and make this right through here. Obviously this will set up much better on a map where you can see it clearer, but I just wanted to show a before and after. But now I'm gonna show you the drainage ditch and the edge. It's a big drainage ditch. It goes all the way out to the river, super steep. And there's already a brush pile started right here that I am just going to add to with the chainsaw all the way back to that tree. So it'll be like a natural fence that forces all the movement east and west right between those 2 stands. So that's the one side. This would be the north side of the funnel. And I'm gonna tighten up from that ditch all the way to that tree. I just finished. I started about 9. It is about 1 o'clock, so it took some effort. I am nasty. Sweated about 2 gallons. Anyway, I'm gonna pause it, flip the phone around, flip it around, and just walk through and narrate as we go. So hang with me. All right, there's that big ditch. And here is my cutting all through there, all through here. A giant brush pile. All that cut. Now, yes, a deer could get through there, but he's not gonna want to. All the cutting down to there. See, what the rest of it looks like is this. So all that cutting in there, all the way to right there. That's where it stops, right there. And then right up there is the stand. And then we're going to go across. Across the funnel. Show you up that way, major trail. Across the funnel. And then the cutting starts again. Stand right there. As you'll see all that fresh cutting. This is what it looks like that way. I'm sure y'all are about drunk now. Sorry about that. It's all that cutting. So you got a big trail here. It's naturally going out to that one, and it hooks right in. All of this. Whoa. Right to there. Then you got that levee. That's the edge of the cutover right there. So that's the edge that they come down. I'm gonna pause it, show you two more things. All right, guys, stands right up there in that V. Got plenty of cover. Here's that, gonna be that mock scrape. I'll definitely have to come in here and freshen it up probably, but I had to get some weight. So I zip tied that big limb there to get it to hang down to the right height, and I have kicked it out from under it. Got a camera already hung right there. So I got that mock scrape right in the middle of the funnel. And then right over here, this will be the trail to help them establish even more of a trail this summer. Put in a mineral lick right here and a camera right there. All right, so that's the setup. I mean, that's basically, I got my mineral site right there. Camera's directly behind me. Mock scrape is right back there to establish. There's already 3 trails coming through here that all merge right here, but that's really opened up. And you got all the hinge cutting on that side and all the hinge cutting on that side. A lot of work. We'll see if it pays off, but this can be for early season. There's food that side and food this side. 2 food plots that the landowner puts in here. And then this is a major rut spot that we'll show you on the map with that big drainage ditch right over there to the north that goes all the way out to the river, cut over on this side, and fenced in duck pond. So we'll show you all that on the map, how it all lays out. All right, boys, appreciate it. I'm gonna walk through the whole process of how I found this and what has developed in here to create this funnel. This is a duck pond on the property that I have permission to hunt on. And they fence that duck pond in so that the hogs can't get in there and eat all their food. And in return, it is now an obstruction and the deer have to go around this as well. This green section right here is a brand new cutover. Anybody that has followed along with Mission Whitetail or me over the last 2 years know that I have hunted a big deer in here, and this cutover kind of messed me up last year because they came in November and started cutting. But regardless of that, it has actually helped me. And here's what happened. Towards the end of the season last year, there is a creek, a little creek that runs off this big drainage ditch into the duck pond, and there was a flat spot, a creek crossing right here, and I dumped a camera in there, and sure enough, after the season, I got a picture of the deer I was after in daylight coming right through here. So this March, I go back in there and I'm like, okay, creek crossing, got a duck pond that funnels things down. You know, I do a little bit of hinge cutting on both sides of this crossing. I should have a really good spot. So I go in there, I look, and sure enough, it is setting up perfect. It's really, the ditch is really deep here. It's pretty deep right here. And the crossing is right there. Lots of deer traffic, everything right there. I followed the trail in and out, looked really good. And before I went to work, I said, you know what? I probably should follow this creek both ways, all the way down to the duck pond and all the way back to this big drainage ditch that goes all the way out to the river. And when I did that, when I started going back down this creek, I found another trail that crossed. There was one even closer. There was a really big trail with another creek crossing right here. And they were all going, obviously this is north, this is south. They were all going east and west from back here. And I would follow the trail and it would come in here. This trail would come in here. This trail was going in here. And this trail was going in here. So I'm like, what can I do? This is not conducive of setting up, because that's the only trail I would be able to cover right there with that creek crossing. But then I've got all these, so if I got any south wind and I'm hunting on that side, there's a major problem. There were not many trails. There were a couple faint trails on this side, but I think the deer know that duck pond, and so they've widened their trails out a little bit through here. So I started walking down through here, and I looked on the map, and this fresh cutover now dips all the way up into where this timber used to be, and it's created a point right here. And then you've got this drainage ditch that's about 15 feet deep. So all of these trails that were coming out of here are coming in right to this point. The point of the cutover where there's a levee right around the edge of the cutover. And then you've got this giant drainage ditch that deer really don't cross. Yes, they will cross it if they have to, but they don't want to. And for them to stay in cover and get from this side of the property all the way over to this side of the property, they've got to go through here. If they don't want to walk, this is almost like a field. It's so bare now. If they want to stay in cover, they've got to go through here. This drainage ditch is pinching them down, and this cutover is now pinching them down, which we used to not have. So what I did is look right in here between these points. So these 2 points is what I looked at, and from here to here, it's 75 yards. Now, that's obviously a long shot. So what can I do to tighten this up, to tighten these trails up even more, so that maybe I only have a 20 to 30 yard shot? So what I did is went in there last weekend, which we're going to be showing during this video, and did some hinge cutting. And I dropped a bunch of trees from this side and piled up brush, just brush that was already on the ground. And I came in about 30 yards here. Well, I better do it on this side. About 30 yards here and about 30 yards here. And I've got 2 great trees. I got one right there and one right there. And now my shot across this gap is only about 20 to 22 yards across there. And with all that hinge cutting, can the deer get through that? Sure they can. All of this in between the 2 tree stands is all open, so it's going to naturally, they're going to want to funnel right through here. So we've created almost like a hot gate between these two tree stands with the hinge cutting that we've done. I've also put a mock scrape in right between them. It's a perfect spot for a mock scrape. And then right back over here, I put in a mineral lick to help these trails. These does are already on the mineral lick. I'm sure we'll get some bucks on them, but what that's going to do is help strengthen these trails through the middle of this hot gate or through this funnel, whether the deer are coming from the west or the east. So guys, that is how I created this funnel. I used the terrain or the features that we had, this giant drainage ditch that goes all the way out to the river, and then this fresh cutover where it's almost like a field out there. Now in 3 years when this thing's grown up, this will be over because they'll be walking all through here because it's super good cover. But it all started from finding that duck pond that the deer cannot walk through. They had to walk around, set the trail camera up, but then I inspected every little detail. I went north and south on that creek, and I found out that this spot would not work, and this would be the spot to be. So guys, you can create the rut funnels in the swamp country, in the flat ground. It just takes a little more effort and a little more time out in the field scouting. Hope this is helpful. Guys, we really appreciate it.